Hi all, this is Jeff Harris with Opendorse, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to our brand new web series. The series is designed to help educate and share best practices around a very specific topic when it comes to Opendorse. And best of all the insight is going to be coming from partners just like you. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Nick Sczerbinski of Quinnipiac Athletics, where we're going to be tackling athlete onboarding and his strategy behind it. So Nick, welcome.
What's going on, Jeff?
Dude, thank you for hopping on. I think we'll just kind of dive right into it. For everybody who's tuning in, how long have you been utilizing Opendorse?
So we just about to finish year one. So just kind of wrapped up. This is our first academic year. And it was a heck of a year to do it, to juggle everything that was going on. But yeah, so we're heading into year two.
That's so crazy to think that it hasn't even been a full year yet. As people who are tuning in will hear, Nick has been able to accomplish quite a bit in a short amount of time. So really excited to dive into that. But just getting started, when you were approaching your athletes about not even Opendorse, but just sharing content with them and the concept behind that, what was their reaction to that?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we've been fighting the battle of, I think as a lot of schools similar to ours fight, is that, you can go on your athlete social media pages and see nothing about the sport on 85% of their pages. And why is that? We don't have the answers to that yet. It's just almost, whether they don't have the resources, and this is speaking from where we were a year ago, do they not have the resources to do it? Do they not, are they not proud of the brand that they're portraying? Does the sport not play a role in developing who they are? We asked a lot of those questions because that's just kind of what you pull when you see it as an individual. So we tried to kind of have that dialogue with them from the beginning and just say, okay, we want to help you not only build your own brand, but we want to help you help us, so the more that we can let them, and it's the Opendorse mantra, but like the more that we can help them develop on their own, it's going to develop our brand as a department and for our programs. So we just had to figure out first, before we did anything or gave them direction and how to do it, was, why is this a problem as it is? And why are you, a student athlete at a university that, especially like for me, I work at my alma mater. I didn't play there, but I went there and now I work there and have that pride and that passion. And I know our student athletes have that, but it doesn't portray in their personal social media. So we had to find the answer to those questions before we could really do anything else.
Yep. And, when it came time to educate them and eventually onboard them, what was your process for that? Did you meet with each team individually, or was it more just like a mass outreach and you tried to get whoever you could?
Yeah, so ours was pretty targeted. So we started the beginning of the year. We have an all-staff meeting the first week that everyone's back, and I brought the Opendorse platform up to the coaches first, and not to get them onboarded that time, but just to say, this is what we're looking at. This is what we're about to sign on with, and here's all the reasons why we think it's going to work. And just to get their buy-in first, so that, when the athletes did find out, we know they'll go to their coach with questions and want to be able to at least have them some sense of knowledge, which I think helped, because at least the coaches were not caught off guard by, what is this platform? Do I need to know about it? Can I just tell them to come to you? We opened the dialogue early. And then the following week, when our students started to come back to school, we normally have meetings with each of our teams for athletic communications purposes as it is. So in part of their return to campus, it would either be, talking to the new athletes about social media policies and just how to operate on social media. And then other conversations that we need to have with different athletes and different teams, just in terms of, here's some of the brand that we want to put out for your program this year. And here's kind of what our message is, get their thoughts. It's more of an open conversation. And then tie in some media practice and interviews. We have a large student media contingency on campus, so we have much more of a media presence than a lot of the smaller schools, smaller than us and likewise to us. So they need to be ready for interviews, because they're going to get them. We have media days for every sport every week. So that all happens organically. So it wasn't something that we had to get on their radar and say, okay, we're going to have this meeting about something new. Once we had them in the room, we gave them our normal spiel, and then we say, okay, here's the second part of this meeting, something a little more exciting than social media rules. This is what we brought to the table this year that we think is going to be great. And that was our pitch, was just like, we believe that this is going to benefit everybody, and here's all the reasons why. Here's some examples. It was just literally bring the website up on a whiteboard and show them examples. And one of the biggest complaints that they've always had was their access to the photos and videos that we've taken, that we've done. And it's, some people believe it is, but it's not as simple as just throw them all in a Dropbox folder and share them with all the athletes. Admittedly, before we signed on with Opendorse, I said to myself, why can't I just put them in Dropbox and do it myself? And like, we probably could find a way to a point to do it, but it doesn't even come close to the same level and the ease of use and everything that we're now getting. So that's one of the questions they said, well, so why can't you just send it to us? Why can't you just, why can't I download from the website? Well, it takes away the quality. So it was, let's vet all these questions and have all these answers. And honestly, even with that, the fall was a little bit of a disaster. Like, the onboarding went really well. We got them all on. And I think we got ahead of ourselves a little bit just because we as a staff weren't fully ready to take 100% of what Opendorse could give us and give it to our athletes. So we said all these things. We said, this is how this is going to work. You're going to get all these different posts and all these things. And then 2 weeks into the fall season, volleyball, soccer, whoever, are saying, well, we've only gotten one. How come we haven't gotten, why didn't we get a picture for this game? Why didn't we get this? And it's like, well, multiple reasons. One of them, we just learned how to use the product. The second one being, we sent every one of you something the first week of the school year, and 2% of you posted. So we didn't send another one, so it was that learning curve of how do we do this the right way, which we figured out after the midway through the fall season. But the onboarding part, it was great because they were all excited about it because of how we pitched it. We just said, this is going to be something that's going to help you. And I think at the end of the day, if a student athlete hears something that's going to help them and benefit them, why would they say no?
Yep. So when you had the meetings where you did talk with the teams, did you go ahead and just onboard the players directly from that meeting?
Yeah. So it shifted a bit. So from season to season, I kind of learned the ropes of what we were doing and tried to course it down a little bit. In the fall, I put up the link to get onto the site, like our school link. I put that up on the board and said, okay, everyone go to this link, and try to make it step by step. So basically I kind of chastised them before it happened and was like, okay, someone in this room is going to type the link in wrong, and you're probably going to spell Quinnipiac wrong, and that's going to be why you do it. So make sure, and regardless, every single time one person did something wrong with the link, so we had to go back. And then I said, someone in this room is going to take a step forward before I explain the step, and it's going to cause a problem. So when you do that, just don't even say anything. I'm going to figure out who it is before it happens. And so try to just kind of make it, more fun for them than just onboarding to a site. And it happened every time. Someone would go to what do I do this? And I was like, well, you're not supposed to be there yet, so I'm not going to give you the answer. And it loosened them up. Honestly, it was more about, I didn't want them to feel like it was something they had to do. They come in that week of the first week of school, and they have all these forms to fill out, and they have all these things they have to do, and take these tests and do this and go to class and do everything. This was supposed to be something that it's for the athlete. So let's make sure they feel like it's something that they're choosing to utilize. And that for me was the biggest piece that we learned real quick, was don't tell them they have to do it, because we're not going to force you to, but here's all the things you can get if you do. And that was kind of, how we approached it. And it made it easy for us to do it all in one swoop. So we explained to them the product, and then I had, one-sheeters printed out that we would give them after we explained it. And they said, okay, great. And they signed up. And that was really the gist of it in the fall, was just, here's how it is, sign up, and we'll hit you with something when we have the content. We progressed from that in the fall, because it was just fall athletes, for winter and spring, we did it around our promo shoot day. So the first thing for promo day, they'd all come into the same room. We'd put them in one group with their phones, and we'd sit them down, and I'd walk them through the whole process to get them on. And then, so they're on Opendorse to start promo day. They go through and they keep their phones to because now we're talking about personal brand and promoting
Mm-hmm.
the sport. So normally in those kind of meetings and events, the coaches say, well, leave your phones in the locker room. Don't take your phones with you. Opendorse helped us shift that because we told them to bring them in and then said, keep your phones, post a picture from promo day on your Instagram story, develop their own content, and start them minds thinking that they can create. And so we did that, and it was a huge success. We had so much more engagement just from them posting their own things.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately the week after the promo shoot, we were able to hit them with a personalized GIF or video from the promo day right through Opendorse. So within 7 days of signing on, they had a piece of content before they'd even played a game. And that was what really elevated from the fall to the winter and spring, was that now they have that experience right away, that here's the buy-in of what I did. Why did I sign up? Now I can see it. So that was our biggest change.
Gotcha. Yeah. I love everything that you just outlined there. With on the education side, helping the athletes understand how powerful they are on social, like how, you guys saying something from the main athletics account isn't the same as a player posting something. So how has that piece gone of just, continuing to remind the players, like, this is a win-win kind of thing. Like, when we're providing content to you guys, it's as much to help us as it is to help you, probably even more to help you. Has that been something that they've grasped onto right away, or is that something that you have to continue with?
I don't think it was right away for everyone. I think every team had one or two players or athletes that were engaged right away, that knew, like, this is going to be good. This is going to benefit us here, here, and here. And it was usually the female athletes that are already working on their own brand on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
That was the tendency that I saw, that there's a few scattered through teams that, have been able to build a following just on their own with their own personality, through that platform, that were able to recognize right away, oh, this is going to be great. Overall, I don't think too many realized, and maybe some still don't, what the potential is. I think with the emergence of the NIL conversation, that's going to change very quickly. And I'm glad that we started this whole relationship a year ago and not now, because I think we're ahead of where we would have been. But honestly, it's ironically something that we just had a conversation about this week with our staff, unrelated to Opendorse and student athletes in general. It was more just about everything going on in the world right now and figuring out our statements and figuring out, how to really navigate. Someone had made a comment about, well, I don't know if I'm a public figure enough for my opinion or my statement to matter, or, whatever that was. And I said, well, are any of our coaches Dabo Sweeney on the social level or any of that? Probably not on the national level. That's, it's not an offense to anyone. It's just not on the national level of Dabo Sweeney or Coach K. But in terms of, if one of our coaches or one of our athletes posts on social media, the community that's going to see that post and the community that chooses to follow them on social media see them as Coach K and Dabo Sweeney on the national level. And that's, so for me, it's like, okay, if, Baker Dunleavy or Rand Pecknold or Becky Carlson or any of our coaches, Trish Fabry, who I work with every day with women's basketball, if Trish Fabry posts something on social media, 85% of the people that follow her and that see her post have a tie to the basketball program, have a tie to Fairfield where she played, have a tie to her family. They look at her as Trish Fabry, 25 years at Quinnipiac, went to the Sweet 16, tremendous player in college in her own right. That in relation to Quinnipiac is Dabo Sweeney in relation to Clemson, as in relation to, and we just drew that conclusion this week, and it really resonated with me. That I think, like I said, it had nothing to do with Opendorse or our student athlete social media, but it's going to have something to do with it when we get back, because it made a lot of sense. Yeah.
And that's a really good point, because, if we stick to the Dabo example, people follow Dabo because, maybe they're a Clemson fan, maybe they're just a college football fan. But people follow your coaches and your players because they knew them growing up. They went to school with them. Like, their parents are friends with there's so much more of a connection. So when, Dabo posts something, so many people interact with it, but when your athletes post something, their entire audience is connected to them. So
Yep.
you're going to get a lot more engagement and interaction going on because, yes, they may not have as many followers, but the people that do follow them genuinely care about that person and will be more likely to, interact and engage with them.
Yeah, I think it's finding the difference between the personality and the person. Like Dabo, I've never met him. The closest I've come to him is knowing people that worked at Clemson in some capacity. Like if I see him post something or I see him on television, it's just like a character on TV in so many ways. But for someone like Trish or Baker or whoever, 80% of the people that follow them have shaken their hand. Like they know who they are. They know Trish's daughter played at Quinnipiac. Trish's son is going to Quinnipiac next year. Like there's the layers of the person as opposed to just, the coach on the press conference. So I think that's a big piece.
Yeah, I love that. Going back to just onboarding specifically, so when you had those sessions with the teams and you had them sign up, was there any follow-up on your end with either providing more materials or getting those athletes that maybe didn't complete the sign-up process or didn't even try to start signing up? Did you go back through and follow up with them or kind of just leave things as they were?
Yeah, so we did once for everyone. So because we did it as a team, it was a lot easier to track. So as soon as we left, I know I would text you and say, hey, just left a rugby meeting. You're going to see 30 of them pop up on the system. Because we did them in order and it wasn't so scattered, we could go in and then see, okay, I have 31 on the lacrosse roster, only 27 signed up. Let me find out which 4 they are. And I would contact those 4. And I had a form email that I just drafted up that basically was like, okay, great to meet with you today. Looking forward to utilizing the process, Opendorse throughout the process of the year. Looks like your sign up wasn't completed. Here's a couple options. And it was like, literally, I tried to make it as easy as possible. I said, reply 1 if it was like a text message, like reply 1 if you chose not to use Opendorse and would like us to not, continue the process. Reply 2 if you tried but were unable to complete it for some reason that you don't know, and reply 3 if you are going to do whatever. It was a couple of options for them, and we got responses from almost every single one that was like, oh, I really thought I could do it, or I didn't know my Instagram password, or whatever it was. And then I would say, okay, just give me a call between this time and let's do it. And then I would do one-on-ones with whoever needed it to get.
Gotcha.
So we were able to accomplish pretty much all of them. I think the only ones we didn't get on were the ones who don't have social media. There were a few that, more than I thought, that just don't have any social media accounts, that were like, why am I going to do this if I don't have social media? And I said, well, you could create just any Twitter or Instagram account and sign on so I can give you all your content and you can still get all your photos, put them on, your refrigerator or something. But we had a pretty good success with that, but it was those one-on-ones after that they were very grateful because it turned out that the majority of them wanted to be on it and kind of felt like a little helpless because they didn't know what they did wrong. So it worked.
That's really cool. Yeah. And that's definitely a strategy that I've seen our partners have a lot of success with is, use the mass route at first to get the bulk of your signups. And then that can really help you hone in on the ones that you need to have that one-on-one time with. So it can definitely help you kind of manage your time and stuff like that. So thank you for that. Like, seriously, all of your insight here is perfect. So please keep it coming. And then, in March, I believe, is when we released the Opendorse Mobile App. So with that, within the first, I think it was in that first month, and probably still since, you guys have been the top in terms of media downloaded. And we only allow athletes to download media if they have the app downloaded. So we know your athletes are, going through downloading the app and stuff like that. So from your end, what was your process for alerting them that the app was available?
So this is actually my favorite answer to give because it offers literally no insight whatsoever. And I mean, to be totally honest, I think we got a little bit lucky. We knew they were thirsty for these post, and they really wanted to get the content. Like I said, we did the promo day, and we have this great photographers come in and they take great shots. We did video piece. We had so many elements that a lot of our sports had never gotten before. We took the traditional basketball and football and hockey promo shoot day and developed it for every one of our 21 sports, to give them that experience and that content. So they were ready for it. So all it took was us to send a text. It was either an email or a group text to each of the captains to say, you're going to be getting a folder with all of your photos today. Be ready for that to come through. And when they got it, I honestly didn't know if they were downloading the app or pulling it from, the web until you told me what our numbers were, that they were all downloading it. So I think that's kudos to you guys that your prompt of suggesting the app when it came up clearly worked, because I never mentioned the mobile app being live to one athlete. I mentioned it before it happened, saying, yeah, in March, they're going to come out with an app. It's going to be easy to use. I, pumped it up when they would complain about, whatever, we were trying to use this or the, whatever they would complain about before that. I said, March, give us till March and we're going to figure it out. But we never mentioned that it was live until we sent those folders, and like talking to a senior lacrosse player saying, here's every photo, because we did every action shot and every promo shot that they were in of all 4 years. So every senior got every single piece of content that they've been included in for the last 4 years that they've been here, on the same day. We just sent them, 4 links. So I think they were just so anxious to get it and to see it that they were like, yeah, I'll click anything. I'll download, and now they're on. So now we can take that and elevate it. Yeah.
I know you started the answer off with saying that your answer isn't going to be very helpful, but definitely is. That's great to hear, that the process that, our product team has created for the alerting the athletes that the app is available, is something that's very straightforward and easy to navigate, and something that even without really being prompted externally, that athletes can follow it and download the app. So that's really good to hear. This last question that I have before we wrap up is, if you backtrack 10 months, or you think about a new partner signing on with Opendorse, is there any advice that, either you wish you would have known when you started, or that you would share with a new partner joining Opendorse so they could have, the most success possible?
Yeah, I'll put my right hand up and say that Opendorse did not make me say any of this at all. It's all. But no, my honest, genuine thought is just, if you're going to do this, buy in all the way right away. Like if you can go all in and get 440 athletes on in the first month, or, get on board with the calls and really buy into those first few calls that come through, to develop your plan and to work on everything with Opendorse like that. For me, we were jumping into it. I knew that it was going to be something that would benefit us because we hadn't done anything social media and digital related at this level before at our school. So it was easy to say, we're going to do it. It's going to be great. It'll be worth it. But especially in a world now where the money might be tighter and the budget situation at a lot of schools is not what it was 2 years ago or a year ago, the value and the purpose has to be there and has to be tangible in order to take it from a communications or marketing perspective and say, administration, here's the proof that it's working. That's the difference for me between Opendorse and, doing it on your own or running it through any other platforms, is that you can have the tangible relationships that I could say, hey, Jeff, can you send me an email that I can send to my admin that's going to show exactly what, we're doing is worth it? Or send a text at 7:00 at night and say, can I get the download numbers so I can put it in a report to make sure we know what we're doing? Like that, those things don't come with any platform. And I think for me, it was getting something like that we knew at a higher level that was working with all these big time programs to work at our level and give us that same community feel that we have at Quinnipiac. So I think that's the biggest thing. Like, take the approach that working with Opendorse, they're going to work with you as a client at the level that you need to be worked with, as opposed to like, hey, you're just another school. That was my one concern when we started, was like, well, let's see what it is. Let's try it. And, we're not going to be their priority because they have Nebraska and they have, all the schools and Clemson and whoever and all these schools they have. Like, we'll see what we can get. And obviously, as you can see now, it's it has not been that at all. So I'm grateful for that, but I would say go into it with an open mindset, and I think you'd be surprised with what you can get.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate all those. Those are very kind words, and that is something that we try.
In the mail.
Yeah, we definitely try to pride ourselves on that. We try to treat all of our partners the same, and always happy to answer those texts at 7:00. Any way that we can provide you guys value, we're going to. So, thank you, Nick, for joining in on this first web series episode. For everybody tuning in, expect a lot of these moving forward. We really want to just dive into quick snippets of a specific topic that can give you guys value and insight into how other partners are executing things. So be on the lookout for more coming soon. And Nick, thanks again for joining.
Glad to do it anytime.
Awesome.